We're diving into a historical mystery today that might just completely flip how you look at ancient human history. When we think of ancient Egypt, our minds usually go straight to the Great Pyramids, right? Or the Sphinx. We think of these massive, earthbound feats of stone, heavy manual labor, and terrestrial engineering that have literally withstood the sands of time. But what if the pharaohs weren't just master builders of the dirt and stone? What if the evidence actually points to them being pioneers of the sky? In this explainer, we're going to look really closely at the data, the recovered artifacts, and the raging scientific debates to see if the legendary pyramid builders were actually aiming for the heavens.
So, were the pharaohs the world's first pilots? I know. Flight? Thousands of years ago? It sounds exactly like a sci-fi movie. It completely challenges our accepted timeline of human innovation. I mean, we're all taught in school that powered flight is a strictly modern invention, right? Something that belongs exclusively to the Wright Brothers in the 20th century. We tend to view history as the straight upward line of progress. But as you'll see, the artifacts left behind in the Egyptian sands are forcing experts to ask some very uncomfortable, yet absolutely fascinating questions about what these ancient civilizations might have actually pulled off.
Section 1. The quest for flight and their ambition for the heavens. Okay, let's dive into this. To really get a grip on what we're looking at today, we first have to put ourselves in the ancient Egyptian mindset, which was vastly different from our own. For a ruler back then, true majesty wasn't just about controlling the land, or the crops, or the Nile. It was defined by the ability to transcend the earthly realm altogether. The sky wasn't just, empty space above them, it was the ultimate sacred frontier. The domain of the sun god Ra, a place of infinite power and eternal life. The source material gives us a super specific lens into this mindset, literally describing flight as a godlike property. For the pharaohs, taking to the skies wasn't just about, say, finding a faster route from point A to point B. It was deeply woven into their theology. It was a literal path to becoming gods themselves. And this wasn't merely a passive wish, it was a highly active pursuit. This intense cultural ambition, this burning desire to literally elevate themselves into the heavens, sets the crucial stage for the physical evidence they left behind.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Saqqara Bird Mystery, or as we'll call it, Exhibit A. We're looking at a small, bird-shaped wooden artifact discovered in Egypt, widely known as the Saqqara Bird. At first glance, sure, it might look like a simple carving, maybe something whittled to pass the time, but its structural design has been making researchers and aeronautical engineers scratch their heads for decades. It just doesn't look like a normal bird. The wings are straight, not curved like a bird in natural flight, and the tail stands entirely upright. And what makes this object absolutely crucial is its age. This fascinating little artifact is 2,000 years old. It was unearthed way back in 1898 during an excavation of a tomb in Saqqara. For centuries, it just sat silently in the dark. Think about it. When it was first found, aviation as we know it wasn't even a thing yet. But today, thanks to modern analytical tools and our own advancements in flight technology, those 2 millennia of silence are finally starting to speak, revealing what looks like an incredibly sophisticated understanding of physics.
Historically, archaeologists kind of just patted this artifact on the head and dismissed it as a simple wooden toy or maybe a ceremonial weather vane. They were viewing it through the lens of their own era. But modern aerodynamics experts, they see something entirely different. They see a potential technological blueprint. They point to the distinct dihedral angle of the wings, which is a specific design feature we literally use in modern aircraft today to increase stability and lift. This incredible contrast perfectly illustrates how our understanding of ancient history evolves as our own modern tech catches up.
Section 3. Testing ancient aerodynamics using modern simulators. This is where the story takes a super cool turn from subjective interpretation into objective hard science. Modern scientists decided to stop making assumptions based purely on history and instead take a much closer, data-driven look at the bird. We move from guesswork in a museum display case to actual aerodynamic testing, treating this 2,000-year-old carving with the exact same mathematical scrutiny we'd apply to a brand new aircraft prototype.
Let's move to the exact rigorous steps the researchers took to put this artifact to the test. Step 1. They thoroughly analyzed the artifact's dimensions, its weight distribution, and the specific unique shape of its wings. Step 2. Realizing a crucial piece was clearly missing from a flat notch at the back of the tail, they mathematically reconstructed and added a lost tailplane. And finally, step 3, they took this complete, true-to-scale model and tested it inside highly advanced, modern flight simulators to see exactly how it would actually interact with airflow.
And you guys, the results from those simulators were absolutely mind-blowing. The artifact possesses striking aerodynamic precision. The simulators prove that with that missing tailplane added, this ancient model wasn't just some heavy block of wood destined to fall straight to the ground. It could actually soar effortlessly. It generated significant lift to fly high above the Egyptian plateau, demonstrating a highly complex glide ratio. The creators of this artifact clearly understood the foundational principles of lift, drag, and aerodynamics centuries before they were officially discovered.
Moving on to Section 4, Hieroglyphs of the Future, or Exhibit B. The Saqqara Bird is really just one piece of this giant puzzle. Let's travel over to the Temple of Osiris to reveal our second piece of evidence, because if the wooden bird showed an understanding of aerodynamics, the stone walls of this ancient temple tell an even more controversial visual story. This is a site renowned for its deep history and intricate carvings, but hidden right there, among the traditional depictions of gods and kings, is something truly anomalous.
Now what's really interesting here is what actually appears to be carved into the ancient stone. To the modern eye, these hieroglyphs look identical to out-of-place machinery. I mean, we are looking at shapes that perfectly resemble modern-day helicopters, complete with what clearly look like rotor blades. Right next to that, we see distinct outlines of submarines and even profiles that mimic swept-wing jet aircraft. These are complex vehicles that wouldn't be invented for thousands of years, yet there they are, seemingly edged by the stonemasons of the Pharaohs. No way, right?
Section 5. The Alien Theory Debate, and it is a fierce divide. As you might expect, these specific hieroglyphs have ignited a massive debate that is still raging today in historical and scientific circles. Because how could ancient Egyptians possibly depict technology from the 20th century? This singular question has split observers into two very different, fiercely opposed camps, sparking intense, contrasting theories about exactly how the pharaohs learned the secrets of the heavens. To understand the mainstream archaeological counter-argument, we really have to look at a phenomenon known as the palimpsest effect. This is a well-documented thing where ancient stone carvers would essentially just write over older carvings. Like a new pharaoh might decide to alter the inscriptions of the guy who ruled before him. Over thousands of years, as the filling plaster dries out and falls away, the overlapping, altered symbols kind of merge together. Mainstream archaeology uses this to explain that the unusual machinery carvings are actually just an optical illusion caused by centuries of overlapping names and titles. So, we're left with this fierce divide. On one side, we have the theory that beings from space visited the Nile Valley and literally taught the pharaohs the advanced secrets of flight, leaving behind these literal depictions of their craft. On the other hand, we have the scientific consensus of mainstream archaeology, arguing that these images are simply the palimpsest effect at work, just an accidental combination of degraded hieroglyphs. It's this profound clash between the sensational theory of extraterrestrial visitation and the highly practical, grounded realities of ancient stonemasonry and erosion.
Section 6. Redefining ancient genius and leaving the ground behind. Ultimately, whether you're looking at the striking aerodynamic brilliance of the Saqqara Bird or those fiercely debated hieroglyphs at the Temple of Osiris, the core takeaway from this explainer remains exactly the same. Regardless of which side of the debate you fall on, the evidence clearly shows a deep, enduring Egyptian obsession with leaving the ground behind. Their ambition to master the skies, whether symbolically, practically, or technologically, was an absolute, undeniable cornerstone of their civilization.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative question to ponder. Was this incredible knowledge a result of alien intervention, or was it the product of pure, unadulterated human genius just waiting to be rediscovered? The answers might still be buried deep in the sands of time. But these spectacular artifacts demand that we keep questioning the mysteries of our ancient past, and they remind us to never, ever underestimate the ingenuity of those who came before us. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the skies and keep questioning history.